I need to catch up my breath. Let's take a glass of water. And let's start. We are at Ulysse Nardin Boutique in Geneva. I have here Jean Christophe Sabatier, Chief Product Officer at Ulysse Nardin, and we want to talk about the Freak ONE, the greatest novelties from this year at Ulysse Nardin, which is paying a tribute to the original Freak ONE. It's bringing the Freak as we know it in the modernity, still keeping all the elements that we loved and enjoyed at the Freak. The disruptiveness and the most important, the silicone revolution that it brought. What are the main differences between the original Freak and the latest iteration?
What we wanted from the beginning of this project was to encapsulate inside the Freak ONE all the legacy of the original one, but not only the, let's say, the legacy of the first timepiece. We wanted also to put inside this timepiece all what has been, all the layers of innovation that have been added inside the Freak collection into that product. So, in fact, you will find with the Freak ONE, the original one, improved and tuned with the latest innovation coming from Ulysse Nardin. The timepiece now is, in terms of functionality, improved. It will be waterproofed. The Freak original was not. There is a flying carousel instead of a carousel. The wearability of the product has been improved. We are providing the Freak ONE with an integrated rubber strap, for example. It is a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter. The diameter is a little bit smaller. And also you will find more in terms of technologies, because in the original one, in 2001, it has been the very first silicone escapement inside our industry. And in the Freak ONE, you will also find, of course, the latest achievements like a silicone air spring, silicone balance wheel oversize, and also, last but not least, the original principle was mechanical winding, and the Freak ONE is automatic.
As we know, the Freak is using the bezel to setting the time. It's actually the one which is setting the time.
Yes.
Because the Freak has no crown. What are the advantages of having the bezel acting as a direct actuator of the time, setting the time, instead of having just a crown?
Well, I would say that the main advantage is, of course, the design disruption it brings, the comfort also, because the crown, may be an element that could not be comfortable to wear, particularly in a watch that is, 43 millimeter. But I would say that, of course, what is the most important for us is that the principle of setting the time through the bezel is just unique, and the main advantage is the feeling you get. When you turn the bezel, you have a unique feeling, something special, because you carry all the movement with you.
You have the direct contact with the movement. You can see almost touching it with your hands by rotating the bezel. You're like almost touching the complete bridge.
Exactly.
And having the joy of having control of the time.
And it's exactly that. When you go through the crown, you have this, let's say, kind of in any watch fragility perception, because you act on many components from a small side, of the caliber. Here it's different. You turn the bezel, and everything is moving with you. It's a very specific feeling.
And you have also very beautiful balance, because you have no objects protruding from the case that are necessary mechanical part of the case. Now you have a clear round case where you can focus only and only at the dial. Or the lack of it in this case.
Yes.
The grinder was firstly used in 2018 in Freak Vision. How did the development evolve in the 5 years? Because as I know, it was a lot of small gimmicks and new improvements done.
Yes. Well, the principle of the grinder is really revolutionary because it brings twice more efficiency compared to a traditional oscillating weight. And as you said, it was a patented innovation, and as every, let's say, revolutionary principle, we learn and we improve a little bit. The first way has been to work on the noise reduction, and the second way has been to increase the level of resistance and durability of the principle through specific treatment on the metal in order to make it stronger, more durable. Because the levers are constantly working. It's the principle of the grinder. Each micro movement from the wrist is bringing an immediate answer. So there is always something working with this system. And we believe that it was necessary to, let's say, improve it a little bit.
Also improvement in geometry or just improvement on the...
No, it was more in the material treatment, yes. But the basic principle remain identical.
The grinders using, because we know silicone, it has a lot of advantages. One of them is that it does not need oiling. It has very low friction. Does the grinder use silicone parts?
No. The grinder is made of steel because the level of, let's say, hardness is enough. In fact, we don't need, let's say, to use silicone to make it work. In absolute value, we could use silicone for the grinder, but it would present some, let's say, disadvantages. Because the scale of the grinder is quite large. It occupies the width, in fact, of the case. And silicone components way of production are more dedicated to smaller size components. And also, I mean, I have to say that silicone components are very expensive. So at the end, you know, what you put
also to make
has also to be paid by the final client. And we try to use each positive property of each material,
the best of it,
with the right price product ratio.
Using the right material in the right place, not just because we can.
Exactly.
Good approach. The first Freak Vision had a huge power reserve of 8 days, which is extremely impressive.
Yes.
For these days as well. The Vision, the first automatic Freak Vision, the Freak Vision had only 50 hours power reserve. So you have a reduction in the power reserve from the first Freak. So one might expect that after a few generations you increase it, not decrease it, even if adding the automatic complication to the watch. Was this reduction a consequence of adding the automatic to the movement?
Yes, because the principle is that you know that with the Freak architecture, the mainspring is at the center of the watch, which is quite unique. And when you want to add the grinder system in order to make it automatic, you need to occupy some space. And if you want to, let's say, also save space in order to keep it quite thin, it is necessary to let's say, to play in a smart manner with the architecture of the timepiece. So what we have done with the Freak ONE, that is the descendant of the Vision, and we kept the barrel at the center, but we reduced the size of the main spring, and the grinder is just underneath and then on the side of the barrel in terms of architecture. So a large part of the grinder is at the same level at the barrel, around the barrel, and this allows us to preserve a right level of, let's say, thickness for the timepiece. So we have had to reduce the power reserve accordingly because the barrel is smaller.
Mainspring.
But our vision on this point is that for contemporary watches, we prefer to propose an automatic winding system, 90 hours, and I mean at the end we have reached 90 hours for the Freak ONE, so we have improved this power reserve being automatic. We prefer proposing 90 hours than 7 days but manual winding, because we believe that people who want to use the timepiece on a day-to-day basis, they want it to be wound automatically. So the idea is that if you put your watch on the table for the beginning of the weekend, you can take it, at the end of the weekend to come back to work with the timepiece, and you will still have the right level of power reserve, let's say, inside the barrel.
Talking about power reserve and space needed and complication to be driven, last year the Freak S has double of everything.
Yes.
Balance wheels, escapement. It's a true rock star, but also a starship.
Yes.
But in the same time has a reduced power reserve. Is driving to completely gears, escapements, something that forced the reducing of the power reserve?
Yes. This is the reason. Having two oscillators is the reason why the power reserve has been a little bit reduced. We are offering 72 hours instead of 90 for the Freak ONE, for example.
Still impressive.
Which is still impressive for two oscillators, but we had to compromise on that. We have also chosen a principle of a 2.5 Hz caliber for the Freak S instead of 3 Hz for the Freak ONE. So people at the manufacturer, they always try to balance,
numbers,
benefits, and numbers when they make choices at the beginning of the creation of a new caliber. And it's always important for us, the power reserve, the functionality of the timepiece is very important. We like technical achievements, but it shall not be detrimental to the, let's say, pleasure, the comfort of wearing and living with the time and experiencing the timepiece.
The silicone escapement with a silicone balance wheel can be finely tuned and then industrial replicated easily. How far it can go in terms of precision?
I would say that
because of ferromagnetic, classic ferromagnetic spring, you have for each spring you have to fine tune it for each watch. So you don't have a recipe for success, but it looks like for the silicone you can do it once and then replicate it. Or it's not quite like this?
Yes, you still need to adapt, let's say, the way you adjust for each timepiece with the silicone technology. But I agree that it's also an improvement for the precision, but it's not the main one, in my view. The main breakthrough with the silicone technology is more for and this has a consequence on the precision, it's more for the amagnetic properties, that it's really, the main step is there. And also let's say the durability of the material, the way that it's more robust, it's more durable.
So you can play with the silicone escapement and silicone balance wheel. You can play at different speeds and different frequencies, just like a normal ferromagnetic spring.
Yes, you need to the main constraints with the silicone is more on the air springs, where you need to adjust each air spring. You know, you have different classes, and related to the properties of the air spring, you need to classify all the air springs in different categories, and you need to respect the constraints in terms of adjusting to each let's say category that has been classified by measurement.
So Ulysse Nardin is using for this silicon technology the classic 2.5-3 forehead.
Yes.
Could it go further? Because silicon as technology could go very high frequency, but I suppose there are also some very high technological challenges that comes with this.
Yes, we could go higher. We can probably cover and explore high frequencies after it creates a new type of issues. But the silicone opens the door to such type of improvement, and maybe in the future we will see.
In the future.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah, because from the discussion until now, it's clearly that you have to have a very careful consideration between which frequency do you use, the size of the barrel, how much torque you can use from this barrel.
Yes.
If you drive complication or not.
Yes.
So everything is influencing, and so the entire gear is the entire chain is influenced. So you need to find the right balance to have at the end as perfect chronography as possible.
Yes. From the discussion I have with our specialists at the manufacturer, it's exactly what you have mentioned. Each time you push boundary and in a field, on a feature, it pushes everything around. So the balance is always very difficult to find when you want to go to frequency levels, or for example, that will be different from the traditional one.
When talking about silicon, because it started to be widely used also from other brands.
Yes.
The escapement and the silicon spring, but would it be possible, because it's relative easy to use, would be possible to completely remove the pieces that are having high friction and need oiling and need servicing, could be theoretically changed with silicone components to have a frictionless watch. A watch does not need classic servicing, at least for a very long time.
In absolute value, I will say yes. And the silicone technology brings us close, let's say, to this point. But I think we are not there completely yet, from what I understand from the use of the technology. For example, we still use some oil because it's not. You can avoid it, but it's better. So you know what I mean. You are close to the end, but you are still not there entirely. For example, at the beginning of the watch, the very beginning, when you put some oil, it's good. It's like for like in the past, cars, they were. It was necessary, to be careful during several kilometers before pushing on the accelerator. But it's a little bit like that also with silicone components. If you put a small oil right at the beginning, it's good, and then after several days of work, you can forget, let's say, to service the watch a little bit. It's not necessary, but then if you keep the product during years and years, it's still good from time to time to put a little bit of oil. So When we say the silicone, I mean, in my opinion, the silicone in absolute value is lubrication free, but still it's not bad to lubricate.
It's still metal on metal.
And I believe that the main breakthrough is probably, I mean, there is a breakthrough on the lubrication, but the main one is on a magnetism, particularly with the air spring, and it's a big achievement. And I can tell you that more and more high-end brands consider in their policy that the silicone escapement or a spring is a standard.
Thank you.
Thanks.